Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin.
Understood.
Laurie Kilmartin.
Yes, Jackie.
The next time I say to my agent or to anyone ever, I want to play Las Vegas, please remind me that it is the worst grind in the whole wide world.
It's awful.
It is not made for creativity. Shall we just put it that way?
You know what? Here's what I haven't worked in Vegas in a while, although the last time I did, I worked with a Columbo impersonator. This would be 2009. And in 2009, they didn't know who Columbo was either. But having worked the improv at Lake Tahoe, which is a great gig, but it's not an art week. I tell myself that at the beginning. I'm like, you're just going to do jokes that already work and try to have fun within those jokes. You're not expanding anything. Yeah. Don't get fancy. That's it.
Yeah, it is not built. My feature did a joke, and I'm going to. It's almost impossible to ruin it because I can't remember the setup.
Okay.
I feel like the setup was he wanted to change the name to Cool Whip to Pussy Whip.
Oh, right. Sure. I see where I think I see where this is going.
You can't. You will not be able to see where this is going. This is actually going to a Bill Clinton impression.
No. Wow.
Yeah. I literally turned to the MC and I said, "Is it 1996? What just happened?" Because there's a new guy who just talked about pussy a bunch too. If you really needed to do a Cool Whip Pussy Whip joke.
Listen, Jackie, they are doing, I think there's a mini series about the Monica Lewinsky scandal coming up soon. So
coming up soon.
Listen, the feature held out for 25 years. And guess what? It's going to be current again very soon.
Okay, so explain this. He had a Reggie Jackson reference. Reggie Jackson was a baseball player in 1978.
Right. Jackie, there's two Michael Jordans. I'm sure there's a very talented actor named Reggie B Jackson.
Is there a very
okay?
Maybe is there a very talented baseball player named Reggie B Jackson that's currently working? That joke would have stuck the landing if you had said a very talented baseball player.
Fuck you! I got a laugh from Kyle and probably from the listening audience. So how dare you?
You are correct. How dare I? Yes. I don't even know if I should, you know how you go into a week and essentially you ask the bartender or you ask the door guy or you ask somebody, you're like, is there anything you want me to not do or anything, like you just sort of, especially one-nighters are more this than club weeks, especially when they've booked you and they know who they booked to headline.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I haven't asked that in a while, but yeah, I guess
it's a one-nighter thing or a corporate thing usually.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like that, right?
Sure.
So the first night of the gig, the feature and the MC, who are exactly our age, both did that thing that I swear only dude comics do.
Right.
Go ahead, Kyle. What do you? So yeah,
we had quick audio problems, but we're back.
We're back. So I'll start the story over, which is, I think it is I've only experienced this with male comics of my age and older,
right,
where they will literally, like, because, when I meet a comic, I'll say, how long you been doing it? Where'd you start? Like, those are the questions you ask comics, right? Is like, how long you in? Is how I usually put it. There are guys, and even guys I've known that you find out later that are the nicest guys in the world, right? The hell's that guy's name? Whatever. A good guy. His name's, I think it's Rich Scheidner. But the first,
Scheidner.
Yeah, I love Scheidner too. So the first time I met him, he did it to me. But it's guys our age, and it's and they always say, "When did you start?" I started in 1986 or whatever.
Right.
And
well, when people they're not doing that anymore. They're all pretending they started in 97 now.
You would think, especially if you're emceeing or featuring.
Right. Yeah.
But nope. They were both like, how long have you been doing it? I've been doing it since '86. And usually, whenever anybody says, "Where did you start?" and how long are you in, I usually, I downplay because again, I should be further along. But with those guys,
and also the response from a lot of comics is exhausting. Like, oh, I was born 5 years after. Like, okay, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it a while, and I've been alive a long time. So I hope your new shit's funny.
Right. But so there's any number of reasons why not to have that pissing contest, right?
Yes.
Because of we should all be more famous. We should all be geniuses. We should all.
Right.
So, but it happens. And both of these guys were like, so how long? I started in, and so I said 84. And the one guy was like, oh. And he kind of backed down and was actually really nice to me for the rest of the week because he started in 86. The other guy was like 81. And then it was a lot about cruise ships, and they were both cruise ship guys, right? So they, essentially they had their taste buds shot off in the Franco-American War by Chef Boyardee. Because
so much going on in that visual.
Well, it just, one of them I was talking to, I think it was the wife of the feature who was also a comic, and she was saying that if you do one thing, and I've heard this about cruise ships, especially from back in the 90s and the early 2000s, if you did one thing wrong, if you got one complaint, they would not rebook you.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Right. And my agent was like, do you want to do cruise ships? And I said, can I do that one to Alaska and see the icebergs? And there was a pause, and he goes, it's not how those work, Jackie. And then he offered me one like 6-7 weeks ago, and he was like, do you want to go to the Bahamas? And I said, I don't want to go to the Bahamas during COVID. Because I don't.
Oh, I forgot about COVID.
Hey, Laurie,
you don't
I'm on the road right now. Yeah, I'm on the road right now. So has everyone else. Yeah. So I did those 4 nights in Vegas, and
yeah. The other thing is like, if you're featuring and you started before 2000, don't bring it up, because the idea that someone only respected you because you accidentally started 2 years before him. There's headliners that started in 2010. So you know what? You're better off not grading your career when someone started. Especially when you're us.
Yeah,
but just in general,
from this side for sure.
Bitter feature that is angry. It's like, no, you're still working in showbiz. You're still a professional comedian. It's cool.
Right. And if I would have said that, he would have gotten. He's like, I know, I'm amazed, like I think he has a new dry bar coming out, and you're just like, it's fine, dude, you get to do stand up. And but he also
dry bar helps a lot.
Yeah, but as the week progressed, he genuinely, his Monday night sets were just kind of sort of kind of one-linery, but kind of cruise ship jokes, whatever. By the third show, he was doing fat chick jokes.
Oy.
And I think he thinks I'm overweight, Laurie. I'm not certain. But
what do you mean at you? What do you mean?
I think he was. I feel like his set became a bit of a subtweet.
Oh, subtweet. Who's your subtweeter this week? When did your
exactly
start?
The subtweeter. It's a new name for an angry feature. Yeah, and
it's just such an old take too. Like
it's a pretty old tactic to try to blow away the headliner kind of thing instead of add to the show.
And the POV of fat chicks being bad is an old comedy. Like, you should be trying to look younger than 70 years old, right? Just because Here's the thing, you can't help getting, this is how I feel about you and me and a lot of us, is we can't help getting older, but our acts don't have to stay the same. And we
Right.
can always be in sort of touch with current culture and not be making, PMS jokes and fat girl jokes or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's 90s shit.
Right.
If your premises still would have worked on Evening at the Improv, you gotta fucking retool that shit.
And if
know?
you remember Evening at the Improv, congratulations for still being in show business.
I don't. I started after that came out. I've just heard older comedians talk about it. Older comedians like Nikki Glazer. She's much older than me. So I've heard her mention it.
Nice hair flip.
I've been working on this character of the 28-year-old comic for 35 years.
Yes. But I did have lovely lunches with comics who now live in Las Vegas for some reason.
Neat.
And Ron Vai and his
I didn't
partner.
know he was living there.
Yeah, moved here like a year ago, but I think he kept his apartment in San Francisco.
So smart. So smart.
And then Ron Josel.
I don't know if I
Ron
know
Josel. A lot of people
Josel.
don't, but he's I went to Eastern Europe with him on a Armed Forces Entertainment thing with Vargas Mason and Amy Anderson.
Oh, is he the guy with the great teeth?
Yeah, no, that's Antoine Young and Antoine Young, who has great teeth. I miss Antoine Young. We should definitely and Vargas. But we all went out for Korean when we came back, and it was super fun. Anyway, but I went with Ron Josel and Ron Vai and Ron's partner Elijah for Korean one day, and then the next day went for hand-pulled noodles. You get off the strip, it turns out there's amazing strip malls. It's
Jackie,
like LA, yeah.
My dad's name was Ron, and he fought in Korea. That's all I could think about when you told me your story.
Well, that's too bad because it was an okay story, but I'm happy. I'm very happy.
Does Ron Vai like it?
Ron Vai really does like it, but he also likes slot machines a great deal.
Oh, I guess it helps if you have that habit. Does he work and pinch hit and stuff like that a lot in Vegas, or does he?
Well, he's the new guy. He's the new guy, so he's just getting in. He's just getting in with the different places, I guess. And
corporate. Yeah. Is there a lot of corporate work? There must be. Right?
I don't know. Ooh, the MC guy, one of his buddies, a North Carolina comic, I think his name was Andy Forrester. He has a dry bar too, I think. I'm uncertain, but he should. But he was in Las Vegas doing a corporate, and he came second show Thursday and literally saved. He's a big Jackie Kashian fan. Do you know what that does for your ego after 3 days of grinding it out with
That's
with
great.
adults? Yeah, with
How much do you want to get into the story of Las Vegas?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the weirdest thing, right, is that the weirdest thing that happened was Wednesday. The club owner and the booker, who seemed saner than 80% of club owners and bookers of the world. And then I met his wife, who was 110% sane and was a breath of fucking fresh air. I met him. He saw the first show. He was like, I'm a big fan. My wife is a big fan. The audiences seem to like you this week. I'm going to pay you right now because I'm not going to be here tomorrow. And I was like, oh, all right. I will do the shows tomorrow. Getting paid early, right?
Well, was he not going to pay you if he didn't like you?
No, he was going to pay me after the last show.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like normal.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's when you get paid stand-up comedy, Laurie. You remember, right?
I know, but it was a weird threat of I like you, so I will pay you versus I don't like you. I'm gonna let you do out the week.
I'm telling you the story wrong then, because these were all sort of separate. Okay. So he talked about how much he liked my comedy. He talked about how much he liked my set, and his wife was a big fan. And then he was like, and the audience is getting a lot of good feedback. They seem to like you. And I was like, great. And then he goes, well, I got to pay you now. And he hands me a check and he goes, yeah, I've given you a little bump. And I was like, thank you. Good. Because I'm planning on not winning at blackjack. So So the next day goes by, Thursday, all day, and an hour before the show, he calls me and he goes, "What? Are you busy?" I was
shit.
in the room, and I was like, "Yeah, I know." I was like, "Well, I'm getting ready for the show," and he's like, "Okay, well, I just want to say, I'm a big fan. My wife,
Oh,
obviously,
God.
a big fan, and the audiences seem to really like you. But, I need you to do some of your stuff is too storytelling-y, and I need you to do more jokes or more, more laughs per second and I was like, wait, okay.
What
I mean,
happened between I love you, here's your money, and the next 20 hours? I don't understand what happened. Because if he
the
already
last
saw the
thing that
show.
happened,
Okay.
right? The last thing that happened when the last time I saw him and his wife, he was sitting in the room with the other two comics.
Mm-hmm.
I went downstairs to get Chinese food.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back, they had both left for the night.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing I heard from him was, I think, I mean, some people might say that the MC and the feature were doing better than you. And so I just need you to crush. And I was like, he was like, just, if you could just do some older stuff. And I was like, okay, all right. This is, an hour. So I'm like, so I start looking through my notebook and I listen to one of my old albums.
Right.
But now I'm in my head.
You're furious. Yes.
I
And
wasn't furious
You
because
weren't?
you know me. I want everyone to like me. I want the audience to do a good job, and I'm afraid I'm never going to work again.
Correct,
These
but-
are the 3 beats of my comedy career.
Yeah.
And it isn't, I'm not saying that they're right, because I will always work if I can make a room full of people laugh. It may not, like, I don't understand why, in retrospect, when afterwards, where I was like, well, that was weird an hour before. And he said during the conversation, he said, I've been meaning to call you all day. Yeah, that would have been great, because first show was kind of a mess.
But
In the first,
he said the audience liked it.
right, he said the audience liked it. The
and
previous,
then he changed his mind, and then
Yes.
if I'm quoting you correctly, sorry, I'm recording this for our deposition.
Yeah.
Right, so there's 8 shows. The first 6 shows were fine.
Some people say, what people?
Yeah, I don't know. I assume it was one of the opener guys.
Wow.
I mean, it was clearly them.
That's what I'm trying to get at. The defendant is being hostile.
Right, and well, and I will say this is, so I did the first show. I get on stage, and all I'm doing is second guessing every bit.
Right.
So as I open, I'm
That's
like,
awful.
well, is this
That's
the
awful.
stuff that I wasn't supposed to do? So for the third time in my fucking career, in 30, well, now we know, don't we? 37 years. Anyway, so I literally froze. I had
Wow.
the tiniest of all panic attacks, which didn't feel super tiny inside.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do the show. I might just walk off the stage right now and get prorated, give him back, his money. So I turned to the side and I was like, Frank, are you still there? The MC guy, who I don't think it was him, just because I don't know who it was, obviously, but I mean, Frank had been super nice to me after the 1986-84 conversation. And and he seemed like a straightforward, like, if he didn't like me, he would just go, hey, I don't fucking like you. So but the thing is so I go, Frank, and he's not there. So another 5 seconds while I'm just standing there, and I'm like, the other 2 times I had stage fright, which I fucking blame on Last Comic Standing, because I had never had a camera in my face constantly saying, what happens if you lose? What happens if you lose? It literally gave me, so I've had 2 other occasions of this, and both times I'm like, move your body. Just literally stand somewhere else and unfreeze your body, which should unfreeze your mind, right?
Good.
And
Smart.
so I moved my body, and it sort of unfroze, and I looked around and I was like, well, he's not around. I'm having the tiniest of all panic attacks, so we're going to have to do this together. And some woman in the audience yells, I have them all the time. You're doing great. And the audience rose to the goddamn occasion. And they were super sweet and super nice. And so I did, and Vegas, it's a short set, so I only did my 40, right? I did my 40.
Right.
I get off stage, I go back upstairs, and I am just now I'm mad at myself. I'm second guessing, and I'm just like, fuck this. I called Andy, and Andy, you know what you need sometimes, Kyle? You'll know this.
Mhm.
The male gaze, used for good, because Andy was like, well, he was just sabotaging you. Why would he call you an hour before? And I was like,
Right.
why would he sabotage me? It's his fucking club. And why would he want the shows to not go well? And Andy was like, I don't know why, but it's just straight up sexism, whether he knew he was doing it or not. And I was like, it's nice to see the male on male gaze,
Right.
and
Right.
and to sort of know
Fuck
what
that guy so hard.
Right. I was like, that didn't make any fucking sense. Here's extra $200. You were great. I love you. My wife loves you. The shows seem to be going very well. The audience getting good feedback. 24 hours later, hey, could you change your set? So, but by the second show, I was like, okay, just pull Spooky Reading Girl and the friendship bit, and that's a 15-minute, killer bits and so I did that second show, and then after the second show, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck right off here. And so I didn't sell merch. I just left, right?
Wow.
And so I was like, and then I didn't want to tell my agent because you know what an agent likes is plausible deniability, and so, but I assume I don't know if it'll ever come out, and I don't really care because I just have to remember that Vegas is a grind, and maybe
Absolutely.
if and when I go back, I want to pick my MC and feature.
Yeah, I mean,
because I think that would have made a better week, is if it would have been more fun. If it would have been
if you don't
people
feel
I
like
knew.
they're gunning for you.
Right. Like, yeah, if I don't have to reinvent the goddamn wheel every time I get on stage.
There's also this thing of like, in a town like that where like kind of being the person you call at the last second, right? Actually, it happens in any city where a comic stays and they're like the local headliner gets called at the last second, right? So they start to feel like they own the room a little bit more than the visiting comedians. And it seems like one of the two comics that lives in Las Vegas and probably works this room a lot felt like they owned the room, and that they would be talking to the booker about how they felt. And maybe they're there so much that the booker was listening. I don't know. That seems so shitty and so weird that it would flip from, you hadn't even done a show in between the overt praise and the, hey, could you not do 80% of what you did that I loved last night?
That you've been working on for the hardcore for the last 9 months. Right.
Right. So that's just awful. And it's weird because like the guys calling it sexism, to me I'd be like, oh man, I would do the same thing of like, well, oh, I shouldn't have done this joke and that joke, but I haven't heard
I would not have seen it as sexism except for the fact that the men that I've talked to are like, no, that's the thing you're seeing, because he wouldn't have said that to a dude.
The two people complaining were also male comics, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know that it was.
So
I don't.
bad.
I don't. It was. I don't believe it was the feature. The MC.
So the
But
feature.
I think it was the. I don't know that, but because I can't know. It turns out I did not bug that room, but
was
but
the
it was
feature
super.
the one that pivoted to fat jokes? Third show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Shitty.
there was the Tuesday second show. They were both so hardcore. There was an Orthodox Jewish couple in the front row that had been sort of battered pretty bad by those first two guys, that by the time I got up, the audience was furious. They were just genuinely, and I'm like the golden retriever of stand-up comedy, jumping around trying to fucking rebuild the wheel here. And
Right.
I saw the dude, the husband, say to the wife, I'm gonna leave. I got 4 smiles out of the guy. I couldn't fix it by then, right? So, I saw him lean over to his wife, and I heard him whisper, because they were in the front row. I heard him whisper, "I'm gonna go. Just meet me." And so he stood up and walked, and then like 3 beats later, she got up and left. And I said, I don't blame them. They gotta go. And I said, the rest of you are being very polite. I'm hoping to have several dick jokes and sparklers will come out of my ass, and we can all regroup. And that was Tuesday's second show, and that was a bit of a slog. And it's sometimes it is, that's what Vegas is normally. It shouldn't have to be harder. Right? You shouldn't make it harder. I will say that.
No one goes to Vegas to see comedy. They go to gamble and win, and then when they lose and they have nothing else to do, the comedy show that's in-house is the cheapest. If they're going to go spend money on comedy, they'll spend $100 on Carrot Top or however much it costs, or go to the Rita Redner Theater or George Wallace, right? Mm-hmm. But if they run out of money, it's like, oh, there's that club that's attached to the buffet. Let me wander in there. That's all they have left. They're not comedy fans.
And there were a couple of people who came up, and it was, that's been the pattern for the last, and I haven't been to Vegas in 15 years. Right. I used to headline the Catch a Rising Star at Excalibur, and in the last couple of years when that was in there, it was staggered with the Thunder from Down Under. So I would do my show, and then the Thunder from Down Under, and then my show, and then the Thunder.
Oh my
and
God.
I had to share a green room with them and their Axe body spray factory.
You had to. Look at this actress try to let us.
Oh my God.
Think it was
it was gross.
thing.
It was gross. It was sweaty and stinky and foul.
That sounds terrible.
Right. I think we just got a glimpse into what you're looking for. So I forget about your taste in men. Anyway, I went to your damn graveyard.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You're in Albany, where my ancestors immigrated to from Ireland during the Great Famine. Thank you, Britain. And they died there. And you visited. You didn't visit their graves. I know you had a show, but you did drive by the cemetery. Thank you.
Well, and the crazy thing is that I didn't. So the show ended Thursday night at midnight. So my flight was at 5:30 in the morning. So it was
from Vegas
to Albany, because there's no straight shot. Oh. So I landed in Albany at 4 p.m.
Oh, that's so awful. Where'd you lay over?
Chicago for an hour. Midway. And so, but get this. So 5:30 a.m. I got to be at the airport by 3:30.
Oh, that's horrible.
So it's 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, well, just pack as slowly as you can, and then go downstairs and lose another $100. And then, and that guy, that Andy Forrester, the corporate guy,
North Carolina
corporate guy, he was super sweet and really funny, and we talked about sound exchange. Anyway, so it was just we just stood around and talked about comedy, him and his buddy was there, and then I went upstairs, I read a comic book. I'm like, just fucking go to the airport. So I got to the airport at 3. It wasn't even open until 3:30. The airport was open, but the gate wasn't open. So I sat with the other people who got there too early. And then we boarded, and it was full. Both flights, shoulder to shoulder.
Awful. Were you in first class or business or anything?
No, Southwest, so no.
Oh God.
But I did get I got exit rows both times.
Okay.
And windows. Okay. And so I exhaustedly slept in half-hour fits and starts against the window. Landed, and then took the next one, and then landed at 4, and the shows start at 7 here. And so the first
one. Oh God.
So there was no downtime. Awful. But I was like, I looked on the map when you posted where the funeral, where the graveyard was. And I was like, this town isn't that big. I was like, the woman who picked me up, Kayla, from the club, I said, would you be willing to do a drive-by? We're just going to take a couple of photos. I'll pick up a flyer. Maybe she can get a virtual tour. But so she was super nice. Yeah.
Next time, did you guys work that room a lot? The second time you've been to Albany, right?
No, first time. I got it mixed up with Buffalo Helium.
Oh, okay.
It looks almost exactly like Buffalo Helium, and it has the same lineup.
Well, you know what Buffalo doesn't have is the place that my grandmother's brother shot himself after he lost money on the horses. So that is also in Albany at the yacht club. So maybe you could stop by there next time.
No,
I haven't gotten booked
the
there
site,
yet.
the site of his suicide.
Yes.
You have. This is it's very intrepid. This tourism.
Yeah, Joe Red Dowling. He killed himself on the banks of the river.
Andy told me to go on the river walk today, but I slept, so I didn't sleep until after the show last night. So
Yeah.
I went to bed at
Oh, you must feel awful.
midnight. No, I slept until 12:15.
Oh my God, that's so good.
It was the best. But then I had to go to the mall to try to get some food, and it's crawling with humanity who think that COVID's over.
I don't know what to do. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah. It's a lot. But Maria Bamford fans, that fan base is, I can't tell you what a relief it was to do stand up last night.
What a boomerang from Vegas to Bamford.
Super
right?
boomerang, because it's all about creativity. It's all about art. And I was like, I'm thinking about doing my new bit, which is just one of those golden sentences you say to Maria Bamford, because she then becomes animated and goes, totally do your new bit. And I was like, she's like, which one? And because I do a joke machine, and I was like, the Chekhov gun thing. And she's like, that is weird, but they might get it. And she didn't say that. She was just like, do it. And I was like, it's so weird. I don't know. But it's the best chance of getting it in a Maria Bamford audience. So, it did, and it went well. It went well.
Should we start doing business?
We should do something. Let's do a break.
Perfect. I was just about to say so.
Okay. Oh, so where did you want to take the Ron By name out?
It's in the like 23, 24-minute area. I just made a note of it.
I texted him so that he could.
Second time you say it towards the end, right?
Yeah, just when you were saying Ron By
yeah.
moving there, trying to be a guy who wanted to be part of the.
Yeah, so I'm gonna trim that up.
Just take that chunk out then?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
You can either take that chunk out or just start that chunk on. That happened, the thing that happens everywhere is people just want to be.
Just take out where we tying Ron By to that behavior.
Yeah, for sure. That was my thought, was sort of bridge it so that he's yanked out.
You have a comic of the week, I assume, right? We had.
Yeah, Laura Peak. Let's do her.
Okay, cool. And then we've got the salmon ad too.
Oh, you want to do the ad first?
To do this?
I'll go look at while we're doing that.
Ad first, or?
Yeah, let's do the ad first.
Okay, go for it.
All right. So I'll just read the ad copy.
Alaskan, yes.
The second message, right?
Or
the top one too.
It's all of it. The first one gives you like things that you can talk about. You've got a real take on it, so I'm not as worried. And then the second one has the ad copy and the call to action. And the call to action's got to be verbatim, but otherwise
I'll do the second
freestyle
one.
it.
Okay, yeah, I'll do the second one, and then Jackie, if there's anything you wanted to add, from the top, go ahead. All right, guys. Wild Alaskan Company. I love these guys. They deliver high quality, sustainably sourced wild caught seafood right to your door. I just got another box, and I've said this before, but it comes in like compostable stuff that looks like foam, but it's not. It's like to me, the more compostable, the better. Even though I don't compost. All right, I'm going off topic. Here, you guys, you can do some salmon.
Wild Alaskan Company, yeah.
Because I was buying this stuff before they were even a sponsor. I was so excited when they asked to be on our show. You can get wild salmon, whitefish, or a combination. I got some whitefish. I haven't cooked it yet, but I'm going to. I was like, hey, let's give it a try. I love the salmon so much. I hate to even deviate from what I love, but I got to try new things.
You really do. Yeah.
Yes, it contains individually wrapped portions of delicious wild caught seafood that's ready to prepare and easy to cook. And right now you can get $15 off your first box when you visit wildalaskancompany.com/Jackie Laurie. That's Wild Alaskan, KAN, company.com/Jackie Laurie. Get $15 off your first order. All this stuff's so good.
Okay, so I have been making the cod, and I've made the halibut, and I've done that thing. Guess what I looked up? I looked up where you use a piece of tin foil, and then you put the herbs and some veggies in this tin foil. You make it a little packet, and then you put you put a little cut in it, and you bake it for like 13 to 15 minutes.
with the fish.
With the fish. And I've done cod like that, and we have garden vegetables, so I've used zucchinis, but and carrots. Yeah.
Oh, it's like using every part of the buffalo, right? You're going to your garden for
exactly.
your veggies.
Yeah.
You
and
have
so
your
it is
aluminum foil tree that you grab your foil from.
right. I just got it from a couple of comics who have invested into Reynolds Wrap. Anyway, but we all know that we should be eating more fish and getting our omega-3s and protein. And the seafood counter it really genuinely is intimidating to me. So when I get these prepackaged and they're wrapped individually, so I can just take them out of the freezer and they thaw pretty quick because it's fish. And I don't ever know what fish tastes the best and what type of cut and the quality from Wild Alaskan. Oh my God, this stuff is delicious. It is really amazing. So they take guess what? I bet you it's wild caught seafood because it's called Wild Alaskan, you guys. So you're used to having a lot of choices when it comes to what you eat, but it matters where you get your food from. So get nutrition from nature. The Wild Alaskan Company sources wild caught seafood from Alaska and the Pacific Northwest. So as Laurie just said, you should totally, right now you can get $15 off your first box when you visit wildalaskancompany.com/Jackie Laurie.
Boom.
Love it.
And now, comic of the week.
Our comic of the week, I saw her last week at the Comedy Store at the Belly Room, and she was hilarious. And I hadn't seen her before. I don't think I even knew that she was a comic, maybe.
A person.
I was like,
I don't know her.
Lady?
Laura Peek.
Laura Peek, P-E-K, and super fun.
Underscore. It's Laura Peek underscore? Is that the
Twitter?
Twitter?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah. And,
I can't wait to see her. I'm so sorry that I'm psyched that the Belly Room's open again, though, but that's awesome.
Yeah. So
I'll look her up.
Yeah, she was really funny. I enjoyed watching her, and it's always nice when you haven't seen it's a brand new experience to see somebody, and she was great. And I was like, they always feel like they came out of nowhere. Cut to they've been doing comedy 20 years. You just never work the same.
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, I have no idea, but I'm just saying, like, she's very well formed, as a comedian point of view and jokes and stuff like that. And so obviously she's been doing it a while someplace because she's really, really good. Laura Peek.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. That is great.
Okay,
I can't
Jackie.
Wait. Yeah.
We, when I say we, I mean me and my son's JV water polo team defeated a private high school JV team this week at their pool, which was incredible. They had a 50-meter pool. It was a Catholic high school in Encino. It was like, you could tell it was private because all the parents knew each other because they're all at fundraisers together all the time, right?
Right.
And a 50-meter and then a 25-yard pool for training as well. My kid's school, public, it's like from 1945 or something. It's a crappy pool, but they won. My son got 1/3 of all the goals, 6 out of 16. So I was like screaming.
16. Oh my God, that's awesome.
6 out of 16. Yeah. The team won, but I was just like screaming. It was so fun, and varsity played before JV, and varsity lost. So JV brought it home.
That's congratulations. That is really fun. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now I will say, are you watching the Paralympics? Are you watching any of the Paralympics?
I'm seeing whatever clips I see on Twitter. Again, NBC makes it impossible to watch the entire Olympics if you've cut the cord, and you have to go into 15 different apps, and it's fucking bullshit. They should just let you watch shit. I'm happy to watch a full commercial before the Olympics and put them on, sprinkle them in as you do. Sorry, that was a long answer to your question.
Right. I forgot that because I think they started last week, and there's 3 weeks of them as well, 3 or 4 weeks of them as well.
Oh, really? Oh,
and
wow.
I just got to see it was wheelchair, either rugby or soccer, but it was these guys just literally just crashing into each other and and just jostling the ball out of it. They're just like pushing.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, gentlemen, all right, that's what this sport is. So that was I saw a little bit of that. That was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And
Okay, you remember that the woman, Amy Nicole, who
Oh
whose
yeah,
car I parked
the
too
car
close to.
thing. Yes.
So I had a couple ideas, and then they didn't go the way I wanted them to. So I just let it rest, and then I just started picking it back up a little bit. And now I feel like there's a way in to make this a pretty good 5-minute chunk, and
good.
including some audience work, some pre-planned audience work that if it doesn't go anywhere, I go right back to jokes. But if it does, we can play with the crowd, which I always love to do.
Right.
And
right.
I can't wait for it to be completely finished, fucking perfect. Then I'm going to send a move file to her insurance company, who I still have on my phone, because she made me take a picture of it, and let her know she made my act.
That is funny.
Mhm.
Well, I wish you the best. I wish
Thank you.
I wish whatever this minutia that it comes to pass, so that you'd be like, look at that, bam. And
Mhm.
do you use her real name? Because I wouldn't. That can't be legal.
The first two names, yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
using her last name. I've already forgotten it. I don't
It's
need
not
to
like
know her
you've
last name.
doxed her. You didn't put her
No,
social security number
she wants
anywhere.
to.
Yeah.
No, I don't. She didn't show me that. But she is more than welcome to complain and dox herself. But there are plenty of Amy Nicoles out there. It could be any one of them.
It's true. There's so many Amy Nicoles. Everyone who uses two names, I'm always fascinated. I'm like, did your parents do that for you, or what
You know
happened?
what? My first name is Lori Ann, and I always felt like it sounded too Southern, and also so much effort. Why would you
Too
make
much work.
someone?
Too much work is what it sounds like. Yeah.
Yes. And then fucking Kellyanne Conway comes around and is like, yeah, these two names don't even go together. And guess what? I'm going to make you say it. I should have been a little more forceful, I guess. But it sounded it always sounded too like Laurie Ann. I just never, but my dad always called me Laurie Ann. So it feels like my dad's name for me. And so.
Yeah. So nobody else gets it. You keep it for him.
Yeah.
Keep it as a nice memory for your papa. My brothers will sometimes call me Jacqueline, which I find ridiculous. And well, my brother Russ calls me Wacky Jackie, which is better than Hacky Jackie. And and they don't. I mean, and it's literally just an introductory thing. After that, it's not like they're saying my name over and over again as we talk.
Well, too many awful words rhyme with Jackie, so that Jackie's a no rhyme name as far as I'm concerned. So is Lori, by the way. It's only Corey and Lori.
Do you remember The Simpsons, where Homer says, "I wanted to name my son something that couldn't be rhymed with to make fun of him"?
I don't, but
I haven't seen. There's 20. Well, there's 20 years. There's too many Simpsons to have seen them all, unless you're a Simpsons dork.
30 years.
That's true.
30 years. There's 30 years. That's too many. That's too many years. I don't. All I loved is when Dana Gould started writing for them, and all of a sudden the number of Planet of the Apes references went through the roof. That was fun for me.
I settled on a picture for my
good.
album, so that's all done. So now I still what? Are you gasping?
No, I grabbed my phone because I thought about my album. Anyway, but tell me more about your album.
Oh, you sound like you're really interested.
I am, I swear to God. So you settled on a photo. Did you go with one in the water?
Yeah, it's in the water. And I'm looking from behind so you see the corset in the back and stuff.
Good.
And
it's named fucking corset. So yes.
It's just named corset, not fucking corset. I'm trying to get it on some cleaning videos. Actually, I'm not. I don't know if anyone is. And then I guess it's gonna come out the end of October.
You got a date?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. And mine is done. And I'm getting hard copies, mostly for my dad. But I'm also gonna sell them at the thing, and people can buy them for coasters. What do I care? And who doesn't want to buy?
I wonder if I should, but I still have I had to buy so many with Rooftop on my first album that I don't even like
800.
anymore.
800's fine.
800.
800-pound gorilla. 800
Oh, I
pound
thought you
gorilla.
meant 800 copies. I'm like, no, what are you doing?
And this is how much. So I
Oh,
just
that's
put it
not
in.
bad. So how
No.
many,
Oh.
is there a minimum?
No. Probably 100.
Okay, maybe I'll get like,
A couple hundred.
maybe I'll
Yeah.
get some. I
Yeah.
mean, okay. They
And
seem to want to be done with me. Understandably.
yeah, I'm psyched because the art is done and the first is done, and it's tracked out, and the digital is ready. I want it to come out in
Wow.
September. I want mine to come out now. Like I wanted it to come out last year.
Yeah.
So and then they're gonna print. I'm gonna get a couple hundred copies of the CDs, and then the DVD. There will not be one. I don't think. I will just burn it to DVD for my dad, and because I can't
Mhm.
face it, and so. But I'm gonna the digital video should be ready this next week.
That's cool.
So I might.
So
I don't.
what are you gonna do with it? You've sent it out to a few places.
Well, I sent out a 5-minute chunk to a couple of people to see if
Mhm.
anybody cares, and so far no
Mhm.
response. But when it's done, I guess I'll just send that link out, and they can look at it there.
Well,
and
you know,
see,
I mean,
yeah.
like Mark Normand, Sam
Mhm.
Morrell have put their stuff straight up on YouTube, and it's done really
So
well.
it's
Now,
Chad Daniels, yeah.
Chad. I mean, I don't know if Chad is, but those two are going on Rogan, which really helps. Which probably isn't going to be an option for you.
I don't know. I don't.
Here's the thing,
I
like,
don't
yeah,
know
I don't
him.
think so. And if it was extended, you might not. You know what I mean? I would be a little dubious.
What would you
about
do?
that.
What would you
I
do?
don't know. I mean,
Oh, I love that because
I don't know, because
yeah.
it's a huge audience. But then I wouldn't be able to. Like I have seen, and this makes me so sad to see comedians when he's going off on vaccines just nod, like they're not saying anything to agree with them, but they're also decided not to infuriate 11 million people. So they're just like riding it, hoping the wave doesn't get too high. So
I don't think he's having 50-year-old women comics on the show anyway. So.
But Jackie, I'm in my late 20s. No, he isn't. He's having comedians that he knows will agree with him, or just be like, "Oh, Joe, ha ha ha," right?
Yeah. I don't know. The
know.
sanest one that I know hangs out with him is Fitzsimmons, right? Fitzdog.
Yeah.
And
but they're old friends from Boston. Here's the thing, like, if you're an old friend from somebody and they start to go off in a crazy way, you just start to remember the other things you knew about them back in the day, right? And so, because I have like
right,
friends
we all
now
have friends,
and they start with and you're like, oh God, you've lost your mind. But I remember what I love about you, so I'll just embrace that. Well, I don't have any of those feelings for Rogan, because I think I've only met him once, very quickly. So
yeah, I don't even think I've ever met him once.
Even this conversation has disqualified us from appearing on this podcast. Why not have it? But I mean,
yeah,
people have done well, and maybe there's other avenues for you if you just throw yours up on YouTube and and cut it up a little bit, so you've got some commercial breaks on it, so you get some commercial income.
Yeah, the monetizing on YouTube is one of those algorithms, or one of those. I never figured it out, so that's why nothing I have on YouTube is monetized. Because I don't want to learn. Hi. Who wanted to say that out loud? Yeah, I didn't want to say that out loud.
I have stuff monetized, but it's I don't have I have like 3,000 subscribers. I don't have a huge base. I'm not Andrew Schultz, so it's not. I don't get a ton of checks. I get almost
Who's Andrew
very little
Schultz?
money. Oh, he's like he. I don't know him, but he started doing a lot of shit on YouTube. I think he had like a joke a day on Instagram for like a year, right? And he built up a massive base, but he also started because he had done a podcast with Charlemagne the God. So he had a massive base to start with.
Who's Charlemagne? Are these comics?
No, he's a radio guy in New York.
Oh.
Why do I even know these things? But
I don't know,
but
I know things that you don't know about dum-dums. Yeah,
true.
or goofies.
But,
yeah.
But it seems like you have had to have a big base, but you might have a bigger base. You've got people in Switzerland paying for shit. So, you might have a bigger base than you think.
I
And
know.
who knows,
I did.
maybe-
I put a nice acknowledgement, a thank you to her for helping with the on the CD.
Yeah.
But I can't put any sort of thank yous or acknowledgments on the digital. There's no room, I guess, on Apple or iTunes or whatever.
Okay.
They
well,
will.
that's fine.
You have
No
to
one
just
wants to
go
listen
artist
to thank yous and
label.
acknowledgments.
Well, no, you can't even like. There's nowhere to put like details about the album. You're like, hey, details about the album. How about the people that made it possible? Darlocation,
Boring.
Elena Rodriguez. Yeah.
Boring. Play
I guess-
my comedy. I have to read who produced your album. I'm going on to Andrew Schultz's clip next. Play.
It's allmusic.com discography. Taking a break right now. And so it came to pass. So yeah, so I'm going to Alameda and Limestone this week. It's another crazy ass travel days. And I want to do, okay, so I'm doing a podcast the other day.
Yeah.
Murray Valeriano's, right? Murray Valeriano has a music podcast. He asked me to do it. There's nothing more ridiculous than having Jackie Kashian on your music podcast. And
True.
it's with two music nerds,
Yeah.
Jimmy Pardo and Gary Brightwell.
Ooh.
So
Okay. Yeah.
the three of us are sitting there, and I'm like, what? Anyway, so
Yeah.
this isn't going to go well. And so, but while there had been some technical problems, so I checked my phone, as is everyone's wont, and I get an email from my agent saying that there's been a fallout, which is how I get chain work sometimes,
Sure.
that to play the Sacramento Punchline, but it's on my 15th wedding anniversary. And so I say out loud, I'm not supposed to take work on my 15th wedding anniversary, right? And Jimmy Pardo, the voice of reason, goes, no, you are not. And I wasn't asking. I was just sort of saying something out loud. And he goes, you're not an open micer, Jackie. It'll be fine. There will be another, just tell them you can't do that week. You'd love a different weekend. And I'm like, what if I never work there again? And I actually haven't been to Sacramento in ages. I haven't done that.
Mhm.
Sacramento Punchline in 1,000 years. But and I want to do all the clubs.
My thoughts. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Well, is
Listen,
it
I've
that
I've had,
when
I've
you
had
had a
very
15th wedding?
successful marriage for 15 years. and
I
here's
was
how
gonna
did
say,
it.
exactly. I know. Here's when it. So Andy and I saved
Take
up
every
for
spot.
for our honeymoon. We saved up and went after we were married, right? Like 2 years after we went to Italy.
Oh.
And I said, hey, I could probably pick up a set. I was talking to someone and write it
Yeah.
off if I pick up a set in Italy. And one of the comics I was talking to when I was musing this, he said, "Oh, that was a point of contention in my divorce that I did sets
Wait,
on my honeymoon."
write a name.
No, I can't even remember. All I remember is the wisdom. I can't remember the name of the
Oh my
comic.
God,
Yeah.
hilarious.
It was so great. I was like, oh, note to self. Yeah.
Well, I did a show this week at Largo with Mark Maron.
Oh yeah,
and he
musical.
Yes. So he had Jimmy Vivino from Conan. So it was a lot of the musicians. I never knew musicians. I was like, oh my God, you guys, hi. And they sounded great. And Maron did some time, and then he played some songs. Then he brought me up and did some time and played some songs, and then brought Fahim Anwar up and did some time. And it was fun, and
Yeah.
I'm not like a music nerd at all, but I enjoyed it. I was like, wow, I wish I'd have brought my son to this. We could see a band playing right up close. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, I'm happy for Mark Maron, because this is clearly, he even said it was a bucket list thing. Like I'm not at the point in my career where I feel like I can just fuck off and do bucket list shit. I feel like, and maybe I should start because I'm headed towards death. But part of me's like, well, like
We're all headed
haven't-
towards death. Yes.
I haven't had hit these particular marks. Like he kind of like all of his dreams came true comedy wise, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah. Bamford too.
It must be an amazing place to be at. Like, okay, like I don't need to check off anything else to be a successful comedian. I got it, you know, and I don't feel like that. I feel like I got to check off a bunch more stuff. And, you know, and I don't know if I ever will, but it was cool to see him just sort of, you know, enjoying what he had. And maybe because he got it so late, he really knows how rare it is and how to appreciate it. I don't know. It was nice. It was fun.
Yeah. It's really cool. I want to do like the fact that Flanagan's booking all of these really interesting shows, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's, you know, it's, I want to do more of those. I should email him and just say whoever, because it'd be kind of cool to do a music one.
Totally. And then Team Coco's doing shows there too, so you should email.
I did the one.
JP, I think.
That was
you did it,
it was
okay.
That was the only one I've done so far is the JP one. And and then Flanagan talked to me about maybe doing the one with Patton, but that'd be fun too. But
it was a lot of fun. He just goes out cold, and the audience goes nuts, and he does some time, and then brings comics up, and then he closes with a bunch of
some more time.
It's really fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I will be in New York this weekend.
Oh, there you go. You're going back to
Friday,
New York.
Saturday, Sunday, because it's the holiday, and coming back on Monday. So I'm mostly doing spots at the Broadway and Greenwich Village Comedy Club. Like Rich Brooks fucking loaded me up. And then I'm doing a couple at the Stand, and I'll try to see if I can plug in some holes, but I'm like loaded up. I'm like a spot an hour starting. It's like, oh, if there's anything that starts earlier at 6 or something, I can do it. But I'm, you know, I'm well taken care of. So I'm excited to, you know, maybe flesh out this Amy Nicole shit. I'll come back with that bitch will be on full blast when I get back from this weekend.
Yeah, I'm opening the Limestone Comedy Festival in Bloomington at their theater and on Thursday night, and then Friday and Saturday doing the Alameda.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, and mask mandates back indoors in Alameda. I don't know what Bloomington is. There's no mask mandate here in Albany.
Of course not.
Indoors, but Maria has asked for people to wear masks.
And are they? I'm sure they are, right?
Some of them are. Some of them are. Some of them aren't. Which they're just like, I think they think that because they're vaccinated. It's true.
Okay.
If you're vaccinated, you're doing it to protect either the unvaccinated or children under 12 who can't be vaccinated.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you on the chat saying that you are protecting yourself as well. Because you can get a breakthrough case, and you know, I don't want a breakthrough case either. Okay.
No. I was talking to a guy online today who I went to this thing this morning, and it was a guy who he's vaccinated. He had a breakthrough case, and he's had it for 9 days. COVID.
It sounds shitty. It sounds awful.
Yeah.
And you still don't know it. It could linger too. We don't know what breakthroughs if they go into long COVID. So I don't even want one of those. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you know, if I were to get one and pass it to my son, every class he would be in at school, that's 6 classes a day plus water polo, they all have to quarantine because they were exposed to him, you know, like, so
Andy has to get tested to start teaching this semester. And so they just added that at New York Film Academy because he teaches game design at NIFA. But so he's got to go get a rapid because he starts teaching in class on Tuesday, or Wednesday or something. Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to buy a bunch of those home tests that you can get at CVS. I guess they're like $15 to $25, but also
good that I won't have to. Oh, what? Oh, go ahead.
My breakthrough is very viral. It will come through the internet and catch you at whatever location you're at. Bye.